Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company has committed to investing $40 billion on their new facility here in northern Phoenix, and it's already having a huge impact on the area, and they're not even producing their products yet. This new facility will create thousands of full-time jobs and construction jobs over the next 10 to 15 years. If you're one of the people that are relocating to Phoenix or just moving to be closer to work, you may be wondering, where should I live near TSMC? This is a three-part video series where I'll be talking about all the different neighborhoods that are in the area of TSMC. Arrowhead Ranch is a very popular community because of its location. As you can see here, the 101 kind of splits the community in half, and so you've got really good access to the east, over to I-17, which will take you downtown into Phoenix and Sky Harbor, and it also takes you east into Scottsdale and down into the East Valley if you need to. So this is actually the community that I live in, and I've really enjoyed it. We've been here for the past 13 years now, and what I like is the ability to get onto the 101, especially with the type of work that I do. I'm all over the valley all different times, so I need to get on the highway and head out. So we're here in the Legends at Arrowhead, and I can be on the highway and be heading down the road in about 5 minutes. So it's really nice from that aspect. To the south, you've got very convenient access to a lot of different shopping options. This is kind of what I call the Bell Road corridor. It's where almost all of the shopping options are available. You've got the Arrowhead Town Center, so if you need to go to the mall, it's one of the more popular malls in all of Phoenix. You've got a Costco here, and there's Target. There's a Walmart up here off of Union Hills. So you've got lots of different shopping options available to you. Entertainment-wise, there's lots of different restaurants. All the chain restaurant and retail stores that you can think of are located here. So if that's what you're into, lots of places to go eat. P83 is another one of the areas that Peoria is really pushing right now. They have their Peoria Sports Complex, which is home to two different teams for spring training. And you can see there's lots of baseball fields here. Really nice stadium. They hold a lot of different events throughout the year, not just spring training in February and March. But this section right here, well, on the west, this main road through this part of town is 83rd Avenue. And what's in P83 is you've got on the lower side here, this is Harkins Theaters, and then all of these are different restaurants through here. There's a few shops, but there's probably 15 to 20 different restaurants. There's several hotels here. So a lot going on in this part of town as far as dining options. But this parking lot, and this parking lot on the north side are all slated for redevelopment. This south part is what's going to be called Stadium Point, and it's going to have probably 10+ story hotel. There's going to be a huge parking garage that will accommodate the stadium, but lots of restaurants and office buildings. Be kind of an open air mall where with a space to you park your car in the garage and you walk down into this area where there's restaurants and shops and whatnot. So it's going to be a really nice addition to this part of town. Along the 101 into Glendale, you find State Farm Stadium where the Arizona Cardinals play. There's lots of national football games that play here. The Super Bowl's been held here 3 different times now. Lots of college football, bowl games, and national championship games, plus the basketball Final Four has been held here. Just to the north is what's called the Westgate Entertainment District. There is an arena here. It's where the Phoenix Coyotes used to play, but they're looking for a new home now. But there is an entertainment district. There's some office buildings on the top, but along the lower levels you're going to find restaurants and retail stores. They have some really cool Vegas Bellagio style lakes with fountains. So that's there's some big billboards. It has a very Vegas feel to it. There is a park here where there's a splash pad and they have live music on the weekends. There's an AMC theater here, so a lot going on at Westgate. This facility next to AMC is actually completed now. It just opened in fall of 2023. It's called Chicken and Pickle. It is a fried chicken and pickleball themed restaurant. So I've not yet been to this facility. I've heard really good things. There's on the north part, there's where the pickleball courts are, but there's an open area with cornhole and other lawn games, and evidently the food is really good. Lots of entertainment space too, so if you need to host business meetings or a party, this is a great facility for that. And then on the other side, you've got Dave & Buster's here, which is an arcade themed restaurant. So if you've got younger kids and you want to play video games, that's a great facility. We've been there a handful of times. It's a lot of fun. And then one of the other new exciting facilities here is what's called Pop Stroke. It is kind of mini golf on steroids. There's a couple of courses here that were, this is a chain of facilities that's going in all over the country. That Tiger Woods is the main designer as far as the mini golf courses are concerned. It's kind of like a combination of golf and bowling. So you've got a nice restaurant and event space here, and then you can head out and play some mini golf and have a few drinks and some food. So we've not yet been to this. It opened this summer, and when it did finally open, I was sick of the heat, so we haven't been down to check it out yet. That's something that we'll go and see what it's like this fall. But a lot of really cool things going on at Westgate. You've got the Tangier outlets, so lots of shopping outlet stores there, a couple of different hotels here, and then just south of Westgate and State Farm Stadium, there is under construction what's called the Vi Resort, and it's going to be the largest resort in Arizona. It's going to have over 1,200 rooms. There's going to be a huge water feature and beach theme in the middle. There's going to be 3 different towers, and on the south side here, I wish this satellite image was a little more up to date, but there's going to be a Mattel Adventure Park is the name. It's a theme park for Mattel and Hot Wheels and Barbie. So there's going to be a big roller coaster on top of this building, and it's going to be really cool. You can see the construction as it updates from the highway as you go by. It's really coming together. So there's the Barbie Dream House exhibit is supposed to be really cool. And like I said, it's going to be the biggest resort in Arizona. So the renderings are really cool. So a lot of excitement around this. It's going to be a big feather in the cap of Glendale and the west part of town. It's going to be a really big deal. They're not going to be open in time for the Final Four, which will be here at State Farm Stadium in April of 2024. But I would bet they'll be open for the winter tourist season of 24-25. So a lot of excitement around what's going on with the Vi Resort here in Glendale. Arrowhead Ranch is comprised of 6 main areas, and 3 of them are north of the Loop 101 and 3 are on the south side. Let's start with Phase 1. It was the original area, and it was the first to be built. Although they did a lot of the infrastructure, I believe it started in 1984 and 1985. Some of the earliest homes that I've come across and living here and selling real estate here were 1985. And I believe that's the year that the golf courses were built. Phase 1 is kind of referred to as old school Arrowhead. Through the middle of Phase 1 and Phase 2 is Utopia Road, and in a lot of sections it is a divided road that has trees down the middle. Starting to see fewer and fewer of these trees. A lot of them are getting they're fully mature, and as monsoons come through and things happen, some of them get knocked down or have to be cut down, and starting to see some of these trees go away. The city and the HOA has been doing a good job of keeping up with these trees and trying to make sure that they keep this intact. That's one of the charming features of Arrowhead Ranch, is that utopia and the tree-lined street. Phase 1 is also home to Arrowhead Country Club, which is a private club. It's got an 18-hole golf course that was designed by Arnold Palmer. It bends around through Phase 1 and Phase 2. It's your typical suburban, through the neighborhood golf course. I was a member there for a couple of years, and it's a really fun test of golf. There's a lot of lakes, as you can see. I would say probably about half the holes have water features on them. So it's a fun course. It's a really nice club. They've done a lot of renovation over the past 10 years or so. There is a full-on fitness center. So as a member, you can go, and you don't have to have a gym membership. This is the main clubhouse here. They've done a lot of work on the restaurant there to update it and try and keep members to, instead of just playing golf and taking off and heading somewhere else, they're trying to keep the membership on property for meals and stuff like that. There is a kind of a stadium, a tennis court, which is cool. Looks like there's some pickleball courts there now, several tennis courts. There's a kid play pool, and there's I don't know if it's an Olympic-sized swimming pool or not, but when we were members there, this pool was getting used all the time for local swim meets, for some of the local schools and community organizations and whatnot. So really nice facilities. They do a good job of keeping it up, and the condition is really nice. There's a full driving range, so that's a really nice addition to the Arrowhead Ranch community. One of the nice things about Arrowhead is in most of the neighborhoods there's a local park. Here in Phase 1 it's called the Utopia Park. You've got a basketball court, a couple of green open areas. There's a playground here. The parks are owned and maintained by the city of Glendale, so our HOAs do not have to pay to maintain these, which helps them to keep the HOA dues keeps them down. So not having to spend as much money on maintaining the parks. One other nice thing about Phase 1 is Arrowhead Elementary, which is K through 8. Actually, it might just be K through 6 now that I think about it. My kids do not go here, so I don't know the exact details on it. But it's on the corner of 75th Avenue and Union Hills. So a lot of kids walk from Phase 1 and Phase 2 to the school. So it's nice to have that nearby. In the neighborhood, there are several community lakes too. So there's several spots of homes in Phase 1 and Phase 2. Some that back to the golf course and some that back to these little community lakes. And some of them are hidden. You're not really able to see them from the roads. Phase 2 of Arrowhead Ranch is this section here that's located right on the shoulder of the Loop 101. It's very similar to Phase 1. Was developed about the same time. Homes kind of on the south part of Phase 2 were started in about 1987. We used to live right here behind the 5th green. Our house was built in 1993. I believe this was one of the last sections to be built. Again, just like Phase 1, there is a local park that is owned and operated by the city of Glendale. So that helps keep costs down for the HOA. There's some nice playgrounds. There is a basketball court, a sand volleyball court, a couple of ramadas, and lots of open green space. I really enjoyed this lake. Part of my walking route every day was to head up by the water here. So just something about being by the water. Yeah, it's a man-made lake and it's right next to the highway, but I don't know, it just was one of the highlights of my walk each day. And there's a handful of these little lakes that are part of the community that houses back to. One of the nice things about all of Arrowhead, and especially in Phase 1 and Phase 2, is your proximity to a lot of the amenities. we were right here behind the 5th green. So, as a real estate agent, I spend a lot of time in all parts of the valley. So to be able to get on the 101 and head either direction in just a couple minutes from our house, that was a big bonus. We were literally one turn away from Target. You back out of our driveway, come over here to 79th Avenue, take a left, and then it goes all the way down here past the mall and dead ends right at Target. So, and being a blended family of 5 kids, we spent a lot of time at Costco as well. That was nice to have that so conveniently located. There's a Best Buy, lots of pretty much every big box retail store you could think of or need is located here along Bell. Plus there's tons of restaurants, and starting to see more and more local restaurants coming in, so it's not just the Applebee's and Chili's of the world. And another cool thing that's happening here in Phase 1 and Phase 2 is the development of a new campus for Phoenix Children's Hospital. Their main campus is down at in Phoenix at the 51 Freeway and Thomas, and it's a world-renowned children's hospital. It's a big deal, and to have them build a campus here is another feather in our cap here for Arrowhead Ranch. So this is construction. You can see it's underway. In this image there, I would say it'll open in probably 6 to 8 months is what I heard last. So this is going to be a big deal. It's a big draw, not only for TSMC and our proximity there, but what's going on with the Phoenix Children's Hospital. We've got Midwestern University is here as well. That's another big draw. Plus Honeywell has one of their facilities here. So home prices in Phase 1 and Phase 2 are going to start at probably about $400 to $425 for some homes that are original, maybe need a little TLC, and we're starting to see homes priced on $1 million to $1.2 million in some parts. There's some custom homes along Arrowhead Country Club that we're starting to see get up over $1 million now. So one of the nice things about Phase 1 and 2 is there's home sizes for everybody. My first home in here when I was single was 1,100 feet, and the home that we had with our big family was over 3,000 feet. So a little bit of everything for everyone here in Phase 1 and Phase 2. East of Phase 1 is what's called the Highlands. It's one of the newer sections. Homes were built in the mid to late 90s. Again, it's like the others. There's a really nice park in the center. There's 2 lakes here. There's always a bunch of ducks and geese, so there's typically people that are hanging out here at the park or feeding the ducks or the geese. It's also located right next to Highland Lake School, so a very walkable neighborhood. Lots of kids that are walking to school, which makes life easier for us parents. There is a Catholic church here, St. Thomas More. Then there are some apartments here. That's the one thing about Arrowhead. There aren't a ton of apartment complexes, but there is a couple of really big ones that are located here. There is a Home Depot store and some other retail located on the northeast corner of the Highlands. And another nice amenity is what's called the Citadel. It is kind of an open air market mall, or whatever you want to call it. There are a handful of restaurants here. There are a bunch of different shops and doctors' offices. My eye doctor's here. There's a really good Italian restaurant here called Bottega. They have amazing wood-fired pizza, and they've got a really cool patio along this open air area in the front. There's a fun sports bar if you want to go watch a game of some sort. Zips is in this building here. And so there's a coffee shop, just a good mix of things here at the Citadel. There's some breakfast places, yoga studio, chiropractor, all that good stuff. So it's nice to have that located there. It's right across the street from Midwestern University, so you will see a lot of students in this area. Very similar to Phase 1 and Phase 2, just a little bit newer. Up on this corner, at 67th and the 101, you've got an AJ's Fine Foods, high-end grocery store. So if you're looking for prime cuts of beef and other meats, this is a great place to go. They have all day, every day. Their iced tea and coffee bar has a line. There's, if you're looking for high-end ingredients or specialty foods, that's a great place to go. They've got a lot of their pizza's really good. In the winter, they have a patio with a grill on it. It's a great place to go and grab lunch. There's a variety of other stores there too, some restaurants, and then across the street there's a dollar store and an Ace Hardware, plus some offices and other local smaller businesses. As you'll notice in Arrowhead, pretty much all of the, almost every corner has some commercial on it. There's a Safeway Center here in the Legends, and then there's a Fry's store. So a lot going on. If wherever you are in Arrowhead Ranch, you're not that far away from a grocery store. On the north side of the Loop 101, there are 3 different communities in Arrowhead Ranch. On the western end is what's called Sierra Verde. It's one of the, it might be the newest, kind of mid to late 90s construction, very similar feel, just a little bit newer. Again, there is a local park right in the center, and you've got Sierra Verde Elementary, which is one of the highest rated elementary schools in the Glendale Deer Valley Unified School District. So this neighborhood is very desirable. It's K through 8. So if young families are looking to be near a good school, this is a very popular neighborhood. And you don't typically see homes staying on the market here very long. Another attraction is these common area lakes. The drive here along Arrowhead Loop, it's beautiful. There's pathways here, and so it's just a very beautiful part of Arrowhead Ranch. And you've got the Sierra Verde Park, which is very popular. There's basketball courts and a lot of open space. So that's a fun park. We spent a lot of time there when my kids were younger. So really nice amenities there. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Here in the center, you've got what was originally meant to be a 55 and over little neighborhood. It is gated. It's called Palomino. The homes are a little bit smaller. There are some 2 bedrooms and 3 and 4 bedroom homes as well. And a lot of them are on the lakes. So a beautiful little community. I've sold a few homes in here, and there's really strong demand for this neighborhood. So when homes do get a premium here, and they don't last long when they do come on the market. Lots of greenbelt and pathways that wander all through the neighborhood, and that allows for kids to walk to Sierra Verde Elementary without having to cross major roads or having to walk on sidewalks along the major roads. So one of the nice things about this neighborhood that is attractive to parents of little kids that want to walk to school. So homes in Sierra Verde are going to start at about $450, and here in Palomino, starting to see prices upwards of $800-900. And some sections on the northeast side do have some bigger homes as well. So seeing homes in that $800 to $1 million range there. To the east of Sierra Verde is one of the larger communities in Arrowhead Ranch. It's called the Legends at Arrowhead. It stretches all the way from the Loop 101 up and borders the Thunderbird Conservation Park. So get some really cool mountain views in a good portion of this neighborhood. There is another golf course that it's called the Legends at Arrowhead Golf Course, and so it meanders through most of this community, and there's a few holes across the 59th Avenue over in Arrowhead Lakes. And again, in the center of the community, you've got Legend Springs Elementary School. So very walkable community, and around all the schools, they do a really good job of having crossing guards, and the speed limits are 15 miles an hour. School zone when school is letting in and letting out. So they do a really good job of making sure that there's people there to help the kids cross the street. But is a very walkable neighborhood. Do see every morning. I live here on the top portion of this neighborhood. most of it's called Top of the Ranch, and so I do see a lot of kids riding their scooters or walking to school. Just a very friendly and nice community. It's good to see people out and about, especially now that the weather here in fall of 2023 is getting better, and seeing people taking advantage of the nice weather and getting out and walking. And so that's one of the things that I really like, is that we're up here in this section, and so I can walk down here by the golf course and this lake here on the corner, and there's water features, and just walking through the different areas in the neighborhood. It's not just walking through and looking at houses or looking at the street, so it makes walking a couple miles through the neighborhood a little more tolerable. Home prices here in Legends are going to start at about $475. There are some smaller homes in the southern section here, plus there's a little gated community called the Enclave. There's probably about 60 homes in here. They're smaller, 2 and 3 bedroom homes, single level on pretty small lots. But some people, that's exactly what they need. So homes are going to start at about $400 to $450 in here, and then starting to see homes that have sold either on the golf course or on the lake, and bigger custom homes that are selling for $1.2 million to $1.4 million. One of the nice things about Legends at Arrowhead and Arrowhead Lakes is they do back to the Thunderbird Conservation Park. So in a lot of these neighborhoods, what makes them desirable is that you do have mountain views. And the nice thing about where we live is we're able to come down here off of Deer Valley and walk up the street and actually walk up into the park. And the same thing for Arrowhead Lakes. You've got trail access here, so if you want from home, you can walk into the park. Arrowhead Lakes is the crown jewel of Arrowhead Ranch. You can see there's a ton of man-made lakes here, and it's one of the more unique communities. There are a handful of these neighborhoods that were built with man-made lakes and all the homes backing onto the water. But what makes this one different than all the others is its location next to the mountains. So some of these homes that have views across the water, either to the north or to the west, just have some amazing views, and it really makes it a unique community. And you just don't find that in other places here in the valley. It is one of the more desirable and one of the more expensive neighborhoods. Homes are going to start at about, in the southern part here, there are some smaller homes that are, your typical suburban or, mass-produced homes, similar to the rest of Arrowhead. So prices are going to start at about $500, but we're starting to see some of the larger and custom homes in the community start to be priced in the $1.3 million on up to $2.5 million. There were 2 homes on this street here. This one on the end just came up about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and it went under contract right away. And then there was another one just a couple of doors down that was listed at $1.9 million, and it sold right away too. So another nice thing about living in this part of town is you've got access to, if you're wanting to head north on the 17, you can head up 59th Avenue, and it goes north and connects with Pinnacle Peak, or you can go up to Happy Valley and go past the Stetson communities and connect over here to I-17. So if you are moving here to work at TSMC, you've got really good access there. Or if you're just looking to get out of town and out of the summer, you've got great access to the 17 freeway that'll take you north up towards Sedona and all the northern Arizona communities. Just outside of Arrowhead, there are several different communities that aren't necessarily part of Arrowhead Ranch, but are very similar. Hillcrest Ranch is very popular. You've got Copper Creek Elementary that is right here in the middle, just like all the other neighborhoods. And then to the north, you've got Hillcrest Middle School and Mountain Ridge High School, which is the main high school for this part of town. This is where my 2 kids have gone. My stepboys went to high school at Sunny Slope in Central Phoenix, but my 2 have went to Mountain Ridge. My daughter's still here now as a junior. So for residents of Hillcrest, it's very attractive because it's a very walkable neighborhood. Your kids can, if you live in this neighborhood, your kids can basically walk to school from kindergarten through senior and high school. So a lot of demand for homes in this neighborhood because of that reason. You've also got the Sprouts grocery store here, which is a nice amenity. And again, like all the places in Arrowhead Ranch, you've got a city park right in the middle. They just replaced the playground here not too long ago, so all that's been refreshed. Just a really nice community that homes are going to be in the 500 to probably 800,000 range, and you've got really easy access to a lot of the same amenities as Arrowhead Ranch as well. So just you're only a mile north from the Loop 101, or you can take 67th Avenue north up to Happy Valley. So if you did need to get to I-17 or TSMC, you're not very far away at all. Another nice community to the west of Arrowhead and Hillcrest is Fletcher Heights and Fletcher Farms. It's used to be the newest community in this area, but was developed in the late 90s and early 2000s. Again, there's an elementary school that's located right in the center of the community, and there's Fletcher Heights Park, which the nice thing about Peoria that Glendale doesn't have at their parks is restroom facilities, which is a bit frustrating. One of the things I don't like about Arrowhead and the Glendale parks is most of them don't have restrooms, but here at Fletcher Heights Park they do have those types of facilities. There's big playgrounds, a couple of tennis courts, and a lot of open space and sports fields, basketball courts, and all that stuff. So this is also a very highly rated elementary school, and again, walkable neighborhood, so very desirable. You've got the Sunrise Mountain High School is just across the street, and there's a Fry's Center plus Albertsons up on this corner, plus some other restaurants and things. To the south of Arrowhead Ranch, you have a couple of communities that are a little bit older. They were primarily built, the homes there, in the 70s and early 80s. There is an HOA here in Hidden Manor, and I believe there's one in Secluded Estates as well, but primarily these properties have larger acre-sized lots, maybe half to 3/4 of an acre. So the homes are a little bit bigger. You get a little more elbow room. You're not as on top of your neighbor as a lot of the neighborhoods in Arrowhead Ranch, so you get a little more space. A lot of custom homes in these areas, and having all that extra space allows you to have different types of vehicles. I know I've worked with a couple of people that have sold and bought in here, and they had RVs and just work trucks and trailers and whatnot. So not a ton of this type of property and neighborhood in this part of town. So this is a very desirable location. You're right next to Arrowhead Town Center and all the amenities along Bell Road. So a lot, very desirable neighborhoods. Some people call it part of Arrowhead, some people don't necessarily, but you're right next to Arrowhead Hospital, and you've got really good access to Loop 101 on the north and on the west. So home prices in these communities are right now, they're probably looking at about $600,000 for the least expensive home, and then there's some lately that have sold over $1.5 million that have been updated with RV garages and guest houses and that sort of thing. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, want to be close to all that's going on in the Northwest Valley and Arrowhead Ranch, but you're looking for a little bit older, different style home with a larger lot, Hidden Manor and Secluded Estates are a very good option.